Crockett's critique was sharp, mocking Greene's bill as cowboy cosplay, saying it was written in crayon, not law. The room chuckled. Then Greene looked her straight in the eye and dropped 6 words that made even the moderator flinch. Like and subscribe, and tell us, where are you watching from? Both sides had brought their fire, but the air shifted the second Crockett entered. It wasn't even about the bill. Not yet. It was the energy. 2 chairs open, 2 names on the screen, and everyone in the hearing room knew this one wouldn't go by the book. On paper, the session was scheduled as a standard committee hearing on state-level coordination with federal firearm legislation. Dry, predictable, paper-heavy. But when Marjorie Taylor Greene stepped in, eyes scanning the crowd like a storm about to pick its path, and when Jasmine Crockett entered 5 minutes later, notes in hand, lips tight, eyes already locked, everyone felt it. This was going to be personal, because this wasn't just about policy. It was about control over the room, control over the narrative, control over the one thing America still doesn't agree on after decades: guns. Greene had introduced her bill 2 weeks prior, a sweeping measure that would make federal interference in local Second Amendment rights a felony. Critics called it extreme. Supporters called it the last firewall. Crockett had read it in full. She didn't just come to object. She came to dismantle. "This bill is a joke," she said before even sitting down. "It reads more like a campaign flyer than a legal document." The room stirred. Greene said nothing. Crockett sat. No smile, just silence and prep. Across the table, Greene placed a single sheet of paper down. Not a binder, not a folder, just the title page of the bill. She didn't flinch, didn't shift, didn't raise an eyebrow. She just waited. Because Greene knew something Crockett didn't. She wouldn't need 10 pages. She wouldn't need charts. She'd only need 6 words. Crockett's speech wasn't just about the bill. It was about the people behind it. And Greene knew it. The chair recognized Rep. Crockett. She didn't hesitate. "Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me start by being clear. This isn't legislation. It's a press release in legal format." A few heads turned. She was already coming in hot. Crockett flipped a page in her binder. Her voice steady, her rhythm fast. She was hitting bullet points like jabs. "This bill uses 0 federal CADA, cites no real enforcement precedent, and if I didn't know better, I'd think it was drafted on the back of a napkin while watching cable news." Murmurs. "And to call it a Second Amendment Protection Act is laughable, because what it actually does is strip law enforcement of tools to track illegal trafficking, tools they asked for." She turned slightly toward Greene. Not directly, just enough for the cameras to frame both faces. "You want to make gun safety enforcement a felony? That's not patriotism. That's performance." Greene's pen tapped once against the table. Once. She still hadn't said a word. Crockett continued. "Let me be real clear. You don't get to write reckless laws from a luxury office and call it freedom. I come from a district where gun violence is real. Not a talking point. Not a donation booster. Real." By now, everyone was watching Greene's face. Nothing, not a twitch, not a blink. The moderator tried to interject. "Congresswoman, let's try to focus the remarks." But Crockett didn't slow down. "We're in the middle of a national crisis. Mothers are burying sons. Teachers are running drills with 6-year-olds. And you," she paused, now fully facing Greene, "you want to criminalize help? You want to jail agents trying to track murder weapons?" Greene finally looked up, just once. Crockett flipped to her last page. "So no, I won't pretend this is normal. I won't dignify this bill with technical critique. I'll call it what it is, dangerous." Silence. A full 3 seconds. Then Greene leaned forward, calm, even-toned. "Are you finished?" Crockett smiled. "For now." Greene picked up the single sheet in front of her. No stack, no tabs, just 6 words. "Come to my district. Bring numbers." The room froze, because in just 6 words, she had issued a challenge. Not a counter-argument, not a rebuttal, a dare. Greene didn't raise her voice. She raised the stakes. "Come to my district. Bring numbers." That was it. No insult, no lecture. But the effect was immediate, because it wasn't rhetorical, it wasn't even political, it was personal. Greene pushed the sheet forward as if to say, this isn't theory, this is geography, her turf. And the room shifted. The moderator, stunned into silence, blinked. Crockett tilted her head, surprised. Excuse me? Greene didn't blink. You talk about real violence, so do I. You think this is theater. Come see the stage, bring your numbers. I'll bring names. A few gasps, quiet ones, the kind people try to swallow but can't. We've got counties where parents sleep in shifts, where you call 911 and no one comes for 40 minutes. She leaned closer. You want to talk about guns? Good, but don't do it from an air-conditioned debate room. Crockett started to respond. I'm not here to... Then come there, Greene interrupted. We'll walk the streets together. You'll see which kids are armed at 13. You'll see who's protecting who. The hearing didn't feel like a hearing anymore. It felt like a stare down between two realities. And suddenly Crockett's opening salvo, her sharp critiques, they didn't vanish, but they lost altitude, because Greene had just reframed the entire exchange. Not who's right, but who's there. Even Kennedy, watching from the opposite end of the committee table, raised an eyebrow, because Greene wasn't defending her bill with talking points. She was defending it with an invitation. One staffer whispering behind the dais, that wasn't a response, that was a trap. Another added, if Crockett doesn't go now, it'll look like she folded. But Crockett wasn't folding. She leaned in. You want me to come to your district? Fine, I'll bring the numbers. You bring the body cameras. That line landed. It sparked noise. Some gasps, some cheers. But the tone had already shifted. Because this wasn't just Crockett versus Greene anymore. It was a challenge for presence, for proof, for witness. And Greene's 6 words had made that clear. When Greene extended the invite, Crockett didn't blink. But the format of the hearing, it was already gone. The hearing was supposed to be routine. Testimony, objections, amendments, end with a vote, archive the footage. But that plan ended the second Greene said, come to my district, bring numbers. Because that wasn't parliamentary procedure, that was a call-out. And when Crockett fired back, then you bring the body cameras. The format shattered. The chairman's gavel came down once. Let's keep this to legislative matters. But no one was listening because now it wasn't about legislation. It was about legitimacy. Greene reached into a folder, not with stats, not with polling, but photos. She held up one, a kid, maybe 12, holding a hunting rifle on a farm. This boy knows how to handle a weapon safely. You'd call that reckless. We call it education. Then she held up another, a bullet-riddled truck found outside her district's city limits. This was last Thursday. The suspect had 5 priors. Under Crockett's preferred reforms, he'd be on probation. Crockett fired back fast. Under my reforms, he'd have had no access to an unregistered weapon in the first place. Greene didn't blink. You trust paperwork. I trust people. And just like that, the crowd realized. This wasn't just gun policy. It was 2 Americas. One where a rifle is a rite of passage. Another where it's a flashing red threat. Crockett opened her binder again, but this time she held up victim photos. No names, just faces. School-aged, some smiling. This boy was 9. This girl was, wait, they're not statistics. They're why I don't play games with gun access. Greene's lips tightened. Then stop pretending your laws protect them. Silence. Even the staffers weren't typing now. You talk about paperwork, Greene continued. But when the 911 call comes, paper doesn't show up. A neighbor does. A rancher does. A mother with a shotgun and 3 kids hiding behind her couch. That's who shows up first. Crockett looked directly at her now. No notes. No podium. Then bring the cameras. Let's walk your streets. I'll come tomorrow. The room snapped awake. This wasn't a fight anymore. This was a deal. And it wasn't brokered by aides or committees. It was made in the heat of a hearing. In front of cameras, in front of America. And no matter who you believed, you knew one thing. Someone was going to show up. What started as a hearing spilled into the streets. And once the cameras rolled, no one owned the edit. Less than 48 hours later, the headlines hit, Crockett accepts Greene's challenge. Unscripted town hall, planned in Georgia. It wasn't official. It wasn't even structured. But it was happening. Greene's staff claimed it would be the guided tour and policy walkthrough. Crockett's team called it a reality check in real time. What it became was a spectacle. Local press lined up. 3 networks sent crews. Even online commentators from both left and right streamed it live. It wasn't D.C. anymore. It was Dalton, Georgia, a local rec center converted into a community Q&A. No security clearance, no controlled talking points, and both women were mic'd. Greene opened with a speech. "This is my home. This is where laws meet lives, and I stand by every word in my bill." Crockett didn't respond immediately. She walked the perimeter, stopped at the back wall where a list of local gun incidents was posted by a grieving parents group. She pointed at one. "This kid didn't get a second chance. I want laws that give the next one a first." Greene didn't flinch. "I want a world where that kid's mother had the right tool to protect him." Then it started. Audience questions. A retired officer. "I've seen both sides. What I want is accountability. Who's making that happen? Either of you?" A teacher. "My students have panic buttons. When do you push one on behalf of them?" A local rancher. "I raised my daughter to shoot straight. You want to outlaw me next?" Crockett turned to him. "No, sir. I want to outlaw the pipeline that lets a teenager in my district buy a stolen Glock on Snapchat." The crowd stirred. Then Greene said it again. Calm, intentional. "Come to my district. Bring numbers." Only this time, Crockett was already there. And she brought more than numbers. She brought stories, personal ones, families, photo collages, letters. One mom read aloud, "When I asked my daughter what she wanted for her birthday, she said, 'a safe hallway.'" That line broke the room. Even Greene blinked. But she didn't back down. She stepped forward with a photo of a 14-year-old from her district who stopped a home invasion with a hunting rifle. "You want stories? I've got them too." And not one of them was saved by a waiting period. The town hall ended without resolution. No agreements, no press release hug, just tension. Real tension. Because neither woman folded, and the cameras caught everything. The debate ended, the cameras didn't, and one sentence got the edit it was born for. By the time both Crockett and Greene were on flights home, the internet had already chosen its soundbite. It wasn't the binder slam. It wasn't the back and forth over death stats. It was those 6 words. "Come to my district. Bring numbers." A 27-second clip was the first to hit. Posted by an independent account. No watermark, no commentary, just raw footage. Crockett mid-sentence, Greene looking still as a statue, and then those 6 words. The camera zoomed slightly, just enough to see Crockett's surprise. Just enough to show the crowd freeze. In 2 hours, the clip passed 1 million views. The edit makers went to work. One version synced the quote over dramatic music, strings rising, bass dropping at "bring numbers." Another layered in headlines, "Gun showdown. Greene challenges Crockett" in 6 words. A third cut together Crockett's earlier comments about gun deaths with Greene's line, framed as a mic drop, no narration. Even Greene's critics had to admit, the sentence landed. It wasn't an argument, it was an invitation, with teeth. Crockett's team posted their own video, a full rundown of her remarks. Stats, stories, data, clear, human, passionate. But nothing stuck like those 6 words. A TikTok duo reenacted the exchange with school desks and blazers. A meme floated around. "When your policy's airtight but someone brings presents." Even Kennedy was asked in an interview if he saw the clip. He nodded slowly and said, "Sometimes you win a debate with evidence, sometimes with memory." Because that's what Greene's line had become, a memory. One that no amount of fact-checking could erase. Crockett fired back in a CNN segment, "Sound bites don't save lives. Policy does. And I stand by everything I said." But the anchor leaned in. "Do you regret accepting the challenge?" A pause, not long, just enough. "No," Crockett said, "because when I show up, I bring the truth." It was a strong answer, but it didn't trend, because the truth isn't always viral. 6 words were, One sentence, 6 words. And long after the headlines faded, people still heard it. Back in D.C., things moved on. Votes were cast, other bills entered committee, new hearings filled the schedule. But something about that town hall, the look in Crockett's eyes, the tone in Greene's voice, kept replaying. Because while debates come and go, moments like that one, they get stuck in reels, stuck in inboxes, stuck in classrooms, barbershops, and group chats, where the question keeps shifting from who won the argument to who really stood for what they said. For Crockett, the trip changed something. She didn't say it out loud, but her tone softened in the next hearing. Still fierce, still direct, but more measured. She had seen the other side, not just Greene's, but the faces behind the policies. For Greene, it was validation, not applause, not ego, but evidence that the microphone wasn't the only way to deliver a blow. Sometimes presence is louder than volume. And 6 words, come to my district, bring numbers, can leave a mark long after the gavel drops. In their next televised appearance together, neither woman mentioned the town hall, but the tension was still there. Respect, too. Different realities. Same battlefield. A moment that couldn't be undone. A moment that kept replaying. And for every voter watching, they weren't asking, what's the bill number again? They were remembering the sentence, the dare, the pause that followed. Like and subscribe if you believe political moments should be lived, not just argued. And tell us in the comments, which side would you walk with? Whose district would you visit first?